Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoebe. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a live swatch and review of the new OPI Summer 2024 collection. This collection is called My Me Era. I purchased the collection at polishpick.com. That will be linked for you down below where you can go to shop OPI for a budget-friendly price. I will be giving you 2 coat swatches of every shade in the collection. I'll also do full hand swatches so you can see how they look on my nails, and if I have any comparisons for you of these shades, we will do that at the very end of the video, so you don't need to watch that part if you're not interested. So let's go ahead and take a look at what OPI has in store for summer 2024.
Let's start this swatch. So we're going to start out with the very light gray. I thought this was a white until I started comparing it to other white polishes from OPI. I mean, it might as well be a white. It's just when you're comparing it to other very similar shades. This is actually a super pale gray, and I love this shade. It is great. It has great 2-coat coverage. It goes on really nicely. It plays well with pretty much anything you need to do. It would be great for nail art. So if you don't already have a shade like this, then you might really like having this one in your collection. So there are 2 yellows in here. The first one is called BFFR. I don't think I'm cool enough to actually even know what that means, so you know, my bad. Don't yell at me too hard in the comments over my lack of knowledge here on these names. So this is a very light, it's kind of in between a butter yellow and a sunny yellow. This was okay. In 2 coats, it's actually okay. I was a little bit disappointed that it was very streaky on the first coat, but it looks nice in the 2 coats. So I do like that. I do have lots of juicy comparisons coming up for you right after this live swatching portion. This next polish in the collection is an ultramarine blue. This is Dream Come True. Excuse me, Dream Come Blue. And you'll see from this swatch that it's kind of more of like a crelly finish than a cream. Not a lot of the shades in this collection. Actually, I'm trying to think if any others in this collection have this same formula as this one. So I thought that that was an interesting change of pace right here in the middle of the collection, but it is a really nice blue. And like I said, comparisons for you coming up. So we do have, I consider them 3 oranges in the collection. Now, some people might think the 2 darker oranges are actually reds. I think that they're all just kind of orange. This is the lightest one, and it is kind of a little bit of a rusty orange. Not incredibly so, but when I compared it to the other shades in the collection, that's how it held up to me. This one's called Feelin Fire. Again, great at 2 coats. I thought across the board, these polishes were pretty fantastic at 2 coats. I didn't have issues with any of them after I got done with that first coat of the light yellow. It was really great. This one has a fantastic 1-coat coverage. This is I Can Buy Myself Violets. So as far as the color story of the collection, I was a little bit confused here. We have like a bunch of kind of primary shades, and then you have a bunch of late summer transitional fall shades. I thought it was kind of interesting, but it kind of jumped all around the board here. So I wasn't sure what kind of color story they were trying to tell. I know that in the collection, they're wanting to help you express yourself, help you express who you are through a wide range of shades, but I thought this felt very late summer, early fall. So this is the mustard shade, and this one is lovely. I will compare it to a few mustards for you so you know if you actually need it, and as you can see, it goes on really nicely. This is called Lookin Cute-icle, which is pretty cute. Next up, we have a super dark green shade. This is called Midnight Snacc with 2 C's on the end. Again, I don't know, don't ask me. But this one is fantastic. Now, I think of this more as a holiday polish or a fall polish, but it is sitting here in their summer collection. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't absolutely love this shade, because I did. It goes on like a dream. It has a juicy formula, super glossy. You don't even need this 2nd coat, but as you guys know, I do this for consistency across all of my swatches. So here is 2 coats of Midnight Snacc. So next up we have the 1 pink in the collection, and this is a very warm pink. This is moving towards a coral. So this one is called My Me Era. So this is the namesake of the collection. And this one has a very juicy, bouncy formula as well. Not quite as crelly as the ultramarine blue, but it is on the bouncier side and really nice. I mean, all of these formulas, I was super pleased with them. Absolutely nothing to complain about in this collection, with the exception that maybe those two orangey reds are like way too similar to probably have them both in the collection. But if you really like an orange red, I think you're going to be really pleased. This was one of my top picks out of the collection. I think it is so fire. The formula is so great. This is called Priceless with 2 money signs on the end. But I think it's really pretty. Look at that formula, and this does feel very summer to me. So this one really kind of hit it right on the head. And like I said, one of my top picks. So next up, you're going to be looking at 2 coats of Priceless Money Money. That's how I want to say it. We just have 3 polishes left in the collection. We have this dark brown red orange. This was super interesting when I was searching through all of my other OPI dark browns. It was really interesting to see how it compared to the other dark shades. A lot of my dark browns from OPI are either more wine leaning or more blackened browns, or they're just like way yellowy browns. But this one is more red orange, and I really loved it. I think it hit that sweet spot. It just looks so nice. So that is 2 coats of Purrrride, and it's like 3 or 4 R's in the middle. So it's interesting that the 2 red oranges are going to be right here at the tail of the collection alphabetically, and it was actually kind of hard for me to even tell in my photos which one was which, but I've got it right for you. This first one is Stop at Nothing, and this, or excuse me, Stop at Nothin. There's a lot of abbreviated words in there, and this one is a little bit more orangey than the other one, just by a tiny pinch. And the very last polish in the collection is called You've Been Red, R-E-D, and it looks very similar to a fire engine orangey red that we just looked at. It is hot, it is beautiful. I feel like if there were only one in these collection, it would make more of a splash than the fact that we have 2 of them. But hey, that's my opinion, and they have fantastic formulas.
Time for the comparisons. So I've pretty much got this collection sorted into our primary colors and neutrals, and then the in-between shades. So we actually have 2 very similar red oranges in this collection. We've got the more red one right here, and then we've got the slightly more orange one right here. As you can see, they're really similar. I didn't put them right next to each other on this swatch wheel, but you can see them right there. They're incredibly similar. I don't really think that you need both of them, especially if you feel that you have some other very red-orange shades here. The way that this differs over here is that it's like, it has a pinch more brown. So let's talk about what I've got here to compare. So we've got the polish in this collection. It's called You've Been Red, and you're just looking at 1 coat of everything on these wheels today. Right here next to it, we've got Race Red from the Mustang collection from way back in the day. And then over here, we've got Rust and Relaxation. They're all very similar. I feel like you've probably got a dupe for this in your collection. There were a bunch more that I could show. I just picked 2. So then over here, we've got the red orange, and this one is called Stop at Nothin. And in the bottle, this looks a little bit more clay, just a little bit, but they're both very just red-orange looking polishes. Now these 2 here that I have to compare for you are definitely more rusty clay red orange. And you can see that with them side by side as ways to compare this new shade to what you already have in your collection. So we have Susie Needs a Locksmith there, denoted with the word lock. And then over here, we have It's a Piazza Cake. So in case you were wondering how it compares to those are both more brownie looking and a little bit more orange. The one in this collection is still more red. So it's most similar to the other red orange in the collection. So there's our red comparisons. Let's move on to the blue in the collection. A nice primary blue right there in the middle. It is called Dream Come Blue. I think most people are gonna be wondering how this compares to Pacific Blue by Sally Hansen, which is right here. This is a blue that leans more purple than green. When you mix red or yellow with blue, it goes in those directions, obviously. And compared to other blues, this one is more closer to an indigo blue than like an aqua blue. So I paired it with these two shades here. Here's Pacific Blue. This is deeper and slightly more indigo moving. Obviously it's not indigo, but it goes in that direction more. And then this shade over here is a little bit less indigo. This one's called Tile Art to Warm Your Heart, and it's also deeper. So there are those comparisons for you. No exact dupes from my collection in OPI's line, but those are some things you might be wondering about. Now let's look at the yellows. By the way, these are on top of my hand because I find that these comparisons look a little bit more accurate over a skin tone. The way that I would classify this yellow is kind of a buttery yellow, less sunny yellow. So I didn't include any sunny yellows. The most similar thing to the polish in this collection, which is in the middle there, it's called BFFR. And the most similar is Hiken from the Barbie collection most recently. That one is like slightly, they're really, really similar, but in the bottle, it looks like slightly greener. I don't think it looks like that on this wheel, but it is very close. And then over here, I got out something that obviously is way lighter, and that is Meet a Boy Cute as Can Be, but it's in this same family where it's a toned down sunny yellow, so a little bit more buttery. Speaking of white, let's talk about it. And what I learned in comparing this to all of my OPI whites, and I have a lot of whites and off-whites, this is actually more of a very light gray than white. So in the middle there, we have As Real as It Gets, and I'm comparing it to two other very light white grays. They had to have a pinch of gray in them to be close to the polish in this collection. Just the straight up whites were too white looking, and then I have a bunch from OPI that just have a pinch of cream, a pinch of pink, a pinch of violet, things like that. This one isn't leaning that direction. It just has like the tiniest bit of black pigment in a huge vat of white polish is basically how it's set apart. So as you can see up there above it, I Can Only Wear OPI. This is more gray. Hopefully that's picking up on the camera. That is something that you want if you want it a little bit more gray. This one is very similar, but less gray. So we have Tile Art, Set Apart by Tile Art, excuse me. I actually have two comparisons on this wheel that have Tile Art in the name. So yes, if you want the barely gray, a tiny bit more gray, or less gray. The last polish in the primary / neutrals wheel, we have Purrrride, and this is a very red orange brown. So I actually only had one thing that I felt like was similar enough to even show you, but it's really not that similar. So this shade is Brown to Earth. This one is more of a very deep violet brown, more blackened brown, and this one, as you can see, pulls a lot of those red tones in. I really, really liked it, but I didn't pull out any of the shades that were more yellowy brown, there's a lot of like very deep winey red browns, but this is more like a red-orange brown, but still very dark, and I like it a lot. So no dupes from my collection. All right, let's go to the next yellow in the collection. We have it in the middle. It's called Lookin Cute-icle. And instantly I was wondering, how is this gonna compare to Never a Dullest Moment? So you see it right there. It is lighter. It has more white in it, but definitely in the same family of Sunny Mustard. Now this is going more green mustard. This is what it looks like when you combine an olive with a mustard. And that's Ochre the Moon. And these were definitely the closest thing that I had in my collection, and hopefully that helps you figure out if you need the new mustardy shade in this collection. Let's do the two greens in this collection, and they are some of the top picks for me. I really enjoyed both of them. So the green in this collection is called Priceless, and I just wrote the word price. It is very similar to I'm So Swamped and Nothing Else in my collection from OPI. Super, super similar. You could just pop this one out from your collection instead of having to get this new polish. The only difference is this is slightly more yellow. Slightly. They're both gorgeous. Do you need them both? I think probably not. Now, as for the deep green, I really loved this one as well. It's called Midnight Snacc. And the polishes that I've pulled out to compare for you, no exact dupes here, even though when they dry down, they do actually all look very similar. This again is just one coat and I don't have top coat on them. So this one up here, this is Christmas Gone Plaid. Now compared to this shade down here, this one in the middle is slightly blue leaning, but Christmas Gone Plaid is more blue leaning. So if you were looking for something a little bit lighter and a little bit more blue sprucey green, you'll want this one. I still really, really love this one. And then this gives us a great slightly olivey, very, very dark green. And that one is Front Runner from, I believe, the Washington, D.C. collection. I need and love all of these, but you could probably get away with just having one of them, especially since when you have them at 2 coats, certainly, they will almost all look identical. And this is just 1 coat. So I do really love them. That's how they compare to the most similar things in my collection. Okay, so sadly this collection only had 1 purple polish, but that's all right. Not everybody is a purple lover as much as I am. So this wheel here demonstrates how the purple polish in this collection, called I Can Buy Myself Violets, is a kind of the perfect baby between a raspberry and a violet shade. It's a very red leaning violet, which is already a reddish kind of purple. So anyway, over here we have Medi, this is a hard one for me always, Medi Take It All In. Medi Take It All In from a more recent collection. This one over here is an oldie but a goodie. This is all that raspberry. And then in the middle we have I Can Buy Myself Violets. So yeah, this turned out to be quite unique in my OPI collection, and I have a lot of purples. It was either too light or much more blue toned or much more red toned. So there you have those comparisons. Let's talk about the one pink in the collection. Again, it was so interesting how this collection had so many red oranges, or just oranges, lots of yellow, lots of green, and then just a smattering of the other shades. So this pink is very warm. It's called My Me Era. So this is the namesake out of the collection. As you can see, I've been putting the polishes from this collection right here in the middle. These I feel are nearly exact dupes. This one on this side is We Seafood and Eat It, which is so cute. Slightly darker. These kind of like warm, light watermelon pinks. Slightly darker, but honestly, these all look so similar when you have them on that you probably don't need this new one, especially if you have Live, Love, Carnival. That one is super, super similar. That's from an older collection though, so maybe you don't have it. But here are the most similar things that I had, and this one has a great formula too. Last up, let's talk about the lighter orange. So this orange is not gonna look like a traditional kind of primary rainbowy orange because it is a little bit rust leaning when you compare it to other oranges. It doesn't look like a navel orange, if you will. It has a little bit of brown in it. However, compared to this one, Have Your Panettone and Eat It Too. That one, as you can see, is more rusty, a little bit redder, but certainly compared to this one over here, you can see that this is rustier and a little deeper than No Tan Lines, which is moving a little bit more towards like a classic orange color. So there you have that spectrum. I do not have an exact dupe for you for Feelin Fire, which is the medium kind of tone orange in the collection. So a good non-dupable OPI in this collection out of what I have collected over the years. But that's how I found it differed from other oranges. It's a little bit richer in the kind of browny, rusty direction that it's heading. All right, so that is all 12 shades in the collection and the comparisons that I had for you. What did you think of these shades? Is this collection intriguing to you? Is it inspiring to you? Does it feel summer? Let me know any thoughts that you have down in the comments below and which ones you're going to be picking up if you loved any of them. I appreciate you being here for this video, for subscribing to the channel. Like the video, please, if you found it helpful at all. And I will see you back for another video very soon. We're going to be looking at the Infinite Shine 9-piece collection from OPI coming up on the channel. Also, the Morgan Taylor Summer Collection, the China Glaze Summer Collection, SE Summer. We have so much summer to do and I'm really pumped for it. So thanks for being here for this video and I'll see you back next time. Bye.